Alright, today I'll be painting this Hyundai Santa Fe. The paint code is T2G. The rear bumper had a minor scuff that I'll be taking care of. On the vehicle, the driver's side front door, rear door, and quarter panels were side swiped, so we had that repaired, and I will be painting that as well as the gas door. Before I started applying my sealer, I put a 16-inch white paper on the front door to stop the overspray from getting on that panel, as it is a blend panel. Here for my application, I narrowed my fan just a little bit more than the usual, just so my sealer can go on a little wet without hesitation. I am spraying at a bit of a low pressure, and I'm not fanning too wildly to try to not get overspray everywhere. Sealer does like to travel pretty far, so I try to keep it controlled. The gas door and the rear bumper don't really need to be sealed, but I'm only sealing them for color match purposes. I know I should have went with a darker sealer, but I ran out of black sealer and we had a snowstorm, so the delivery guys weren't delivering, so I had to work with what I had. Now I'm tacking my panels just to get rid of any excess overspray. If you enjoy watching content like this, please subscribe. It'll help our community of painters become much larger. Alright, now I'm sealing off the repair patch on this blend panel. Notice how I am combing away from the blend area as to not get any overspray over there. Again, I am tacking more overspray that may have landed on my blend area. And here I take my blender and I'm just spraying it on the edge of my sealer. This will help my sealer edge melt in. Alright, now I'm taking my Fuji spray gun to apply my wet bed. This wet bed is from the Sherwin Williams Ultra BC8 line. I did have a viewer comment on one of my videos asking what was the ratio that I mixed this wet bed, and it is a 1-to-1 mix. That is the way that the computer suggests that it be mixed. I like to apply my wet bed wet without leaving any patchy spots. That way when the paint goes on, you won't have any blotch areas. Now I am applying my first coat of base, and I am going about medium wet. Not extremely wet, but just medium wet. I'm trying to get some kind of coverage since I did apply a lighter sealer. But I will go heavier with my second coat just to get that full coverage. This is one of those gray metallic colors that can be pretty difficult to match, but fortunately I had a couple of spray outs already done for this color, and I picked the one that matched really well. I didn't have to adjust anything. Another positive is that we are keeping our color contained, so we're not painting anything that will be touching any other already painted surface. I'm making sure to go around all of my edges and make sure I get paint on that, because what will happen sometimes is that, for example, you'll put a bumper on or a gas door and you forgot to do your edges, and you can see that bright sealer just like a sore thumb, it just sticks out. Alright, now I'm applying my second coat of base paint, and I am going for full coverage. And here I am extending my blend a little farther out. I always like to apply my base paint wet enough to where I know that when it dries, it'll have a satin look. Notice how I am not spraying extremely fast. I always like to have control of my gun, and I like to see how the paint is going on. The fan on my gun is fully open, and I have my fluid knob out 4 turns. I am spraying this at 16 psi. I always make sure each pass is going on consistent. I like to keep a consistent overlap. Alright, now I drop my air pressure to 12 psi and I am applying my control coat while my base is wet. I do spray solvent base paint, so I like to spray my control coat when the base is still wet. If I do it when it's dry, it might go on really dry and it'll create a lot of sand piling, and that'll create a lot of blotch spots or dry spots, and it won't look any good. Even though I did drop my air pressure, I'm still making sure this coat goes on pretty wet. I make sure my control coat doesn't go on grainy. After applying base, I like to check my panels with the lights off. I use my flashlight and I check for any blotchy spots or any see-through areas. This all looks very good. This is the way it should look. Alright, now I am applying my high solids clear coat. I am using my trusty Iwata WS400. I'm spraying at 29 psi. For my fan, I turn it all the way out and then give it 2 turns in. And for my fluid knob, I have that out 4 turns. It was a cold day when I sprayed this car, so my clear coat was a bit thick. So I went ahead and reduced it with 5% of the moderate reducer. I like to spray this clear coat pretty close to my panels. I stay away about 4 inches. I try to be consistent with every pass, and I always try to keep it moving. This car does have a lot of sharp lines and edges, so I try to keep it moving to not get any sags along those lines. And I try not to overload my panels with clear coat, especially not on my first coat. I always want to try to spray it carefully and always keep it moving. You always want to make sure to keep your nozzle and your air cap really clean. You don't want any kind of obstruction, because then your fan pattern will not be all the way full. You want to have a nice, even, full fan pattern. Alright, now after letting my first coat flash off for 10 minutes, I'm coming in with my second coat of clear coat. This is my final coat, so I slow down just a little bit and I make sure my clear coat goes on there really nice and thick. This is for the final finish, so you want to make it look glossy, make it look even and uniform. Again, I'm trying to avoid overloading my panels with clear coat. That way I don't get any unwanted runs or sags along the edges or the hard lines on my panels. So I always try to be careful. I appreciate you all watching my video. Stick around to the end to watch the finished product, and we'll see you on the next one.